This is Audible.
Gobble. Cute Thanksgiving stories and jokes for kids. Written by Arnie Lightning. Narrated by Sue Porter. The annual meeting. Timothy stood in front of the gathered crowd. They all gobbled loudly amongst themselves until Timothy banged a gavel against the podium. The crowd grew silent and stared up at Timothy.
Thank you all for coming, Timothy opened. I know you all have such busy schedules.
The crowd laughed. It was the same joke Timothy opened with every year, but being turkeys, they had forgotten the last time he told it.
I think you all know why we're here, Timothy continued.
The crowd of turkeys murmured and looked around.
You do know why you are here, right?
There was no answer. Timothy massaged his beak.
Okay, we are here because it's almost Thanksgiving.
The word sent the crowd into a panic. That dreaded word that all turkeys feared. They ran around, many of them bumping into each other. Timothy hit the podium with his gavel again.
Easy there, fellows. Thanksgiving isn't here yet.
He banged the gavel again as the crowd panicked at the mention of Thanksgiving again.
We have time to prepare, just like every year. What are we going to do?
Asked one turkey near the back.
Simple, Timothy answered. We're going to pretend to be other animals.
The turkeys looked around. Even though this was the same plan as last year, they needed to have it explained to them again.
Look, right now, turkeys are in high demand. That's what the farmer is going to be looking for. But if we were all to look like, let's say, chickens, then he would pass us by.
But what if people ask for chicken because there are no turkeys? As smart as he was, Timothy had not thought of this. He forgot about it every year.
All right then, not chickens, but pigs and cows, maybe even dogs. Everyone still have their costume from last year?
The turkeys looked around. They had forgotten where they had put their costumes. Timothy banged the gavel to regain their attention.
That's fine. We have 2 weeks to get them together. Just remember, when Thanksgiving rolls around, don't look like a turkey or a chicken.
What about ducks? Timothy thought about it.
I guess ducks are safe. I mean, who asks for a duck on Thanksgiving?
Somewhere outside, a duck laughed.
Wah, 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 wah.
He finished up his pig costume and slipped it on. He thought about telling them about a turducken, but at this time of year, it was every bird for themselves. He waddled away, practicing his oinking.
Oink, 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 oink.
Thanksgiving morning. The sound of the TV wakes you up. You are not in your bed. You are moved to the couch in the living room to make room for your cousins. You are not on the couch either. At some point in the night, you must have fallen onto the floor. That, or your cousins that are now crowded onto the couch, moved you there. They are watching a parade on TV. Some people in a booth talk about the float behind them. They seem wide awake. It is still too early for you. You walk past your room. It is still filled with yet more cousins. You retreat to another room. The floor is covered with sleeping relatives, aunts and uncles from Florida, Wisconsin, and Jersey. 2 sets of grandparents, Uncle Joe, who lives somewhere in Canada, and still more cousins. Where did all these cousins come from? You find a small corner of the room empty enough for you to rest, but your dad catches sight of you from the kitchen and waves you over. Every surface of the kitchen is covered in food, most of it still uncooked, but that doesn't stop it from looking delicious. You imagine what they will all look like and smell like later, and it makes your mouth water. Your dad looks incredibly tired, but also very proud. He does not say how long he has been up. In fact, he does not say anything. He simply hands you several plates of cinnamon rolls and waves you back out of the kitchen. You suppose it is your duty to hand these out. You make your way back through the room of sleeping relatives. The smell of cinnamon rolls causes them to stir, but no one wakes up. You continue back to the living room. At first, your cousins are too busy watching a group of people dancing on the TV. You stand off to the side with the plate of cinnamon rolls, wafting the scent towards them as best you can with your arms full. Finally, they notice the smell and turn on you. It takes some quick moving, but you narrowly escape their diving attack. With the couch finally clear again, you lay down. You catch a few more moments of sleep while the dancers make way for a balloon of your favourite cartoon character. Thanksgiving is definitely here, but it can wait just a little bit longer for you. The Kingdoms of the Plate. The plate had once again fallen into chaos. After centuries of struggle, all of the kingdoms had finally settled all dispute of their borders. The Turkey Leg Kingdom had taken the largest portion of the plate, and though the other kingdoms were jealous, they could all agree that this space was deserved for all the turkey leg had done. Next largest was the mashed potatoes. They were content with the land given to them because they could easily expand upwards. Large towers looking down on the other kingdoms. The stuffing had tried to build upwards like the mashed potatoes, but their structures crumbled. For a moment, the biscuit had tried to claim a spot for themselves, but they had been banished to the land of the napkin. Finally, the vegetables had formed an alliance, mingling their people into one large mass. This was the way it had been for years, and though sometimes the people of the kingdoms mingled together, they generally kept to themselves. There was finally peace among the kingdoms, until the dreaded gravy flood. It started in the mashed potatoes. They tried to keep the sudden, unending flow contained within a hastily built reservoir, but it was not enough. The thick, brown gravy flowed over the walls and into the stuffing. The buildings of the stuffing broke apart easily as the flood continued to the vegetables, which were swept away into the turkey leg. When the flood finally stopped and everything settled, attempts to rebuild were stifled by the sudden attack by the biscuit. They had planned the whole thing. They swept through the land, soaking up the gravy, but scattering the 4 kingdoms every which way. The mashed potato towers had swallowed up the stuffing, which became soggy and unrecognisable. The vegetables clung desperately to the turkey leg, but the crisp skin of the turkey leg, once a mighty defence, was now sliding apart. Content with what they had done, the biscuits simply disappeared, leaving only crumbs. "My goodness, what a mess!" Mum said, shaking her head. "Can't you ever just eat your food without turning it into some kind of tragedy?" Mum took the plate off the table and into the kitchen. She washed the plate and put it on the racks to dry. There would be a time when the Four Kingdoms would rebuild. No one knew when that day would come. But for now, there was a new plate, and the pie and the ice cream lived together in perfect harmony, for the time being. Parade balloons. It was almost time for the parade to begin. Organisers moved the crowds of balloon handlers into position, getting them into the proper order. "Ugh, I can't believe Zip gets to go first," Bill said to Polly. Polly was currently facing in the opposite direction as Bill. She bobbed up and down as her handlers tried to turn her around. "What's that, Bill?" she asked. "It's Zip. He's always at the front of the formation. I can't stand it." Polly finally spun around and could see Zip now. The round clown balloon floated stoically ahead of them. "Oh, I don't think it's that much of a big deal," Polly said. She wore a white dress with pink spots, a basket of flowers in her painted-on hands. "Well, I do. I should be up front. I am a police officer after all." A breeze turned Polly toward Bill. "You're not really a police officer, Bill. Just like Zip is not a real clown. Anyway, it hardly matters in the grand scheme." "Grand scheme?" Bill asked. "Yes, sure. Zip may be in front of us, but there's still so much ahead of him." Bill dipped thoughtfully. "I suppose you're right. And we're all ahead of Santa." "Don't get too proud about that, Bill," Polly said. "He's back there because he's the real star." "That's true. At least Zip isn't back there." "Why are you so upset over Zip?" Polly asked. "Because look at him!" Bill shouted. Another breeze conveniently turned Zip to face Polly and Bill, his handlers scrambling below him. He looked rather sad and deflated. "He clearly doesn't even enjoy this job. Do we really want him to be our representative? The first face the kids see when we come round the corner?" "Oh, I guess not," Polly mused. "But there's not much we can do about it." Bill sighed. "No, but I still don't like it." The parade started. Bill and Polly did their best. Zip, on the other hand, broke free just before the parade end. For the first time, Zip looked happy. They never found him. The next year, Polly was at the front of the group. "I can't believe Polly gets to go first," Bill said grumpily. "Woof," said the dog balloon. "You always say that." The cornucopia. It looked like a curved horn, thin wreaths tightly woven around each other in gradual wider circles. Grapes, apples, pears, and a large twisted squash spilled out of the horn's wide end. Sylvia and Rika looked at the horn. "What is it?" Sylvia asked. I think I heard one of the grown-ups call it a cornucopia. But there isn't any corn in it. They stepped closer and peered into the horn. Maybe it's further back, Rika suggested. Reach in and see. Rika pulled the fruit aside and reached into the cornucopia. Her fingers touched more grapes, the rough and bumpy skin of another squash. Then there was nothing. She kept reaching in until her arm was in up to her shoulder. Feel anything? Sylvia asked. Nothing. Wait! Rika wrapped her fingers around something. It felt cool and rubbery. It was the leaves of a corn husk. I think I found the corn, Rika cried out as she pulled. The corn moved a few inches before getting caught. Rika stopped and let go of the corn, stumbling away from the cornucopia. What happened? It stuck. Sylvia picked up the cornucopia and tilted its open end over the table, shaking it. Fruits and vegetables of all shapes and sizes tumbled out of the horn, bouncing off the table and forming a small pile on the floor. None of what fell out was the corn Rika had felt. Sylvia shook the cornucopia harder, angling it every which way as she did. Soon the pile was half as tall as the two girls. Where the heck is that corn? Rika asked, peering up into the horn. She stood, raising her head up into the cornucopia's hole. It was dark. She could barely see anything. Then there was a click. A large man stood in front of her. He held in his hands a cob of corn. Hi, Rika said to the man. Can I have that corn? The man looked at the corn, then back to Rika. Can I have the rest of my food back? The man asked. A few moments later, the pile of food was gone. Rika and Sylvia looked at their cob of corn. I guess we should cook this corn, Sylvia suggested. Yeah, Rika agreed, adding, but according to the guy, it's called maize. Don't be ridiculous, Sylvia scoffed. Then it would have come from a maize-utopia. Thanksgiving jokes. What is the turkey's favourite dessert? Peach gobbler. How come the big man didn't get a second helping of pecan pie? Because he ate it all the first time. What was the Pilgrim's favourite dance? The Plymouth Rock. Can you spell Indian house with only 2 letters? Teepee. Who is never hungry on Thanksgiving? A turkey, because it's always stuffed. Why did the turkey cross the road? Because he wanted to prove that he wasn't chicken. Why did the pilgrims' pants keep falling down? Because they wore belt buckles on their hat. What do vampires put on their mashed potatoes? Gravy. What do you get when you cross a turkey and an octopus? Enough drumsticks to feed the entire family. Which country never celebrates Thanksgiving? turkey. What smells so good at Thanksgiving? Your nose. Why did the turkey hunter shoot the turkey? He was in a foul mood. What did the turkey say to the turkey hunter?
Quack, quack.
Why did the monster get a ticket on Thanksgiving? Because he exceeded the feed limit. Why did the Pilgrims want to come to America during the spring? Because April showers bring Mayflower. Where did the Pilgrims land when they came to America? They landed on their feet. What did the snowman eat for Thanksgiving? An iceberger. How do you stuff a turkey? Buy him 2 large pizzas and some cheeseburgers. This has been Gobble, cute Thanksgiving stories and jokes for kids. Written by Arnie Lightning, narrated by Sue Porter. Copyright 2014 by Arnie Lightning. Production copyright by Arnie Lightning.
Audible hopes you have enjoyed this program.